Giorgio Cheskis, there's a new name. First one on, followed by Luca Craig. And Training to Win, who a.k.a. John Emmett, is with us from the UK. Cheskis, where are you? We know Luca Craig's down in Auckland. Welcome to all of you. Good evening to those of you in Europe. Good morning to those of you down under. As always. Ted Ryman on from Cape Town in the Republic of South Africa. Christopher Gillingham, ahoy. Thanks for your note this morning, Christopher. That was fun. He's saying ahoy, Julia, and the Fozy, fair winds and falling seas from Chris and Jane in Leamington, England. Mike Gazzara, long time, Mike. He's in Discovery Bay here near us. Pedro is walking in Balmoral. I wonder if Balmoral in Oz, I suppose. Ed Worley, John Schaefer. Schaefer, we're going to get Schaefer on the show pretty soon, Julia. We got a date to have John on. I've just turned your mic up. Greg Phillips, greeting from a wet day in Montreal. Greg Phillips, usually in Oz, I think. Gordon Smith saying hi from Denmark. Nice crowd on here, Julia, as always.
Yes.
Alistair Murray is watching. We've got an AAAA segment today.
Oh, good.
Here we go. Let's get this one off the dock.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Jay Rendell says, hello from northern Minnesota, where I'm hiding away working on my boat builder book.
Proud of him.
Proud of him indeed. Hi, everybody. Welcome to show number 552 for today, Tuesday, the September the 13th, 2022. Julie, we have to decide whether in, not too long, when we go on daylight time, off daylight time at the end of this month, whether we're going to stick to our 1 o'clock time here, which leaves it at 2000 UTC, which is a pain in the you-know-what for me.
Yes.
Get on the air. That means getting on the air live at noon our time. I don't know. I've been thinking about this morning. Hi, everybody. We are delighted to have Commodore Ken Glidewell, Staff Commodore. He was Commodore here in 2020. He'll be joining us in a minute to preview the Rolex Big Boat Series, which starts Thursday this week here in San Francisco. We've got otherwise an action-packed show for you. Let's get on with it. In the pre-start, courtesy Castle Cove Sailing Club and John Emmett, his home club in Weymouth in the UK. I love that photo. We are watching the Queen as Her Majesty, the late Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, whose casket was moved this morning from Scotland down to London, and where she's going to lay in state for a few days. And on Friday, we'll announce this again at the end of the show, but we're going to do a Fozy tribute to Her Majesty the Queen and the sailing family that she has led all these years. And Andrew, Julia, Andrew Pindar is going to send a video. He's tied up Friday night, but he's going to send a video and help lead the way. And any other Fozy that want to send a video, want to send, just a note to us with their remembrances. And Andrew's had dinner with her and carried on. He's met her, and as have any number of other people. And we will do that on Friday's show. Of course, Her Majesty's funeral is next Monday. We were a little worried it was going to be on Tuesday, because that would mean we would go dark. We wouldn't do the show on Tuesday.
Correct.
If that had been her funeral. But it is, of course, midday next Monday. To those of you who asked whether we would do a watch party, you and I talked about that, Julia, and I think we should let everybody watch it on their own time zone in their own way. And
it's an awkward time zone. Yeah,
it's 0400 for us. Not that that's the reason why, but we're still thinking about her and what a wonderful life she led in the Commonwealth, which she led so beautifully. Our friends in the UK and beyond. Do you know, Julia, what day it is today?
Oh, well, no.
What's that look like?
Fudge.
Close. Today is International Chocolate Day. Who would have known? Chocolate plants have probably been on Earth since the dawn of history, but it wasn't until around only 4,000 years ago, that the Olmec people, you know where Olmec is?
Yeah.
Mesoamerica, present-day Mexico, began turning cocoa beans into a beverage. At the time, drinking chocolate was a rather rare and special delicacy that was used in cultural rituals as well as for medicinal
As well it
purposes.
should, yes.
You know, it was also used as an aphrodisiac.
Well, of course.
Considered anything good is considered to be an aphrodisiac. Around the 16th century, chocolate made its way to Europa, although the Spanish kept it a secret for quite some time. Eventually, chocolate houses, something like a pub for chocolate, began popping up in Britain, and the trend spread through Europe. I wonder if Emmett's ever been to a chocolate house. The invention of the chocolate press influenced chocolate making and made the possibility of solid chocolates more feasible. In addition, the Dutch, bless the hearts of the Dutch, where John Emmett is, in fact, in the Netherlands, as we speak, process to make cocoa powder allowed chocolate to be more accessible to more people other than just the rich or royals. So what a nice thought on today, Julia, International Chocolate Day.
I love it.
What's your favorite chocolate?
Oh, yes, I love it.
And we've got Ken Glidewell standing by. We're going to he's here in San Francisco across town with us. And welcome, Kenny. We'll get to you in a moment. But I just wanted to say that the best chocolate are the little, I should have brought one in here. I've got a whole, every time I go to the yacht club to St. Francis, I bring out a handful of those things. I think a lot of people do. And we've got them here in the grill room at the Beach Street Yacht Club.
Uh-huh.
And it's dark chocolate. It's really good and good for you, right?
1 ounce a day.
Right?
Yes.
Show 552. Ed Worley is saying, according to my wife, chocolate is magic. Emmett says I have been to Cadbury's many times. Saw a great tribute to QE2 from Paul McCartney. Steve Gruber is saying he said he had the privilege to meet her 9 times and had nothing but good things to say. They had a song. Remember the song? Her Majesty's a pretty fine girl.
Oh, yeah.
But she doesn't have a lot to say. Her Majesty, what was that at the end of the White Album? Ken will know. We'll ask Ken about that when we get to him in a moment. Her Majesty's a pretty fine girl, but you gotta have a belly full of wine. Her Majesty's a pretty fine girl, and someday I'm gonna make her mine. Oh yeah, someday I'm gonna. Right, Ken? You can. Someday I'm gonna make her mine. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
That way we don't get a copyright strike. Emmett saying, leave it at 2000 UTC, which means noon my time to get us on the air, Julia. I don't know. Alistair Murray's going for a ride. Yachties or hotties. He says he's off for a ride, although it's brass monkey weather here, 2 degrees, presumably Celsius. And welcome to all of you for show 552. We had Commodore New York on the other day, and now we got the staff Commodore. That means here on West Coast. That's what we call our former Commodores. And one of our favorite Commodores of all time, Ken Glide, will be with us in a moment. Julia, that was fun at the starting line to talk about what's going on in Newport this week. We'll feature that in a sec. But you know what else is going on?
No.
See that? There it is on your monitor.
The Bacardi Stars.
The Bacardi Star Worlds, the 100th anniversary Star World started obviously in 2012. And at the first club that hosted the World's Eastern Yacht Club in Marblehead, just north of...
If it's 100th, it'll be 2020.
Sorry, 1922. Thank you, Julia. That's why we have Julia here to keep me from being...
My math is good, yeah.
From being too crude. Well, you went to Stanford, you know, it should be. Your football team wasn't so good the other day. Huh?
It wasn't.
USC handled you pretty... I went to the game.
Yes.
And usually you win when I go to your games,
yes.
But not this year. 100th anniversary of the Star Class presented by Bacardi at the Eastern Yacht Club, September 8th through 17th. They're on their day 2. While we're on that, rather than doing a little report, I thought I'd do it right here at the top of the show. An impressive run of form gave the second race yesterday, race 2, which was yesterday, win to Jorgen Schoenherr from Denmark and Marcus Coy from Germany, who controlled the fleet from start to finish and end the day in 4th overall. Headlining the leaderboard, though, after yesterday's racing, was Italy's Diego Negri and Sergio Lambertenghi, who now count 2 second places to lead over Kayard and Clean, Paul Kayard and Fritzoff Clean of the U.S. and Germany, respectively, with Karatsia's Tansi Stepanovic and Tudor Bilic in 3rd. Tansi's maybe the best up-and-coming sailor in the world. Bravo salute to all of them and to the Marblehead, to the yacht club, the Eastern Yacht Club in Marblehead. And the International Star Class Association, still the best class in the world.
Yes.
Maybe even better than the Finn class, right? Right up there, certainly.
Yeah.
Thanks to Commodore Paul Zabatakis, who was our guest last Friday. A lot of people said that was one of the best segments they had seen on New York, and in some ways, changed your attitude toward New York.
Yes.
And he really humanized the club and
Absolutely.
put a very, very fond and embracing face on the club, I think is how people put it. Harbor Court, that fantastic clubhouse in Newport, Rhode Island, the club bought in 1988, formerly the Brown Mansion, and that is the venue for this week's Resolute Cup, which is the 12th through the 17th is the qualifier for American yacht clubs, and we have a team there. We'll ask Ken McAlpine. I knew I would say Ken McAlpine. Ken Glidewell about that. The Resolute Cup was first run in 2010. We have a St. Francis team there. As the U.S. qualifying series for the Rolex New York Yacht Club Invitational Cup, which happens in September of 2023. The biennial regatta, which is sailed out of New York's Harbor Court, has since developed an identity of its own, yada, yada. And 23 entries from USA yacht clubs, and it's just starting here really in earnest today. Monday, yesterday was registration and weigh-in. Today is practice sailing, mandatory, as the Brits would say, mandatory. Competitors meeting and a big opening reception tonight, and then racing continues through Saturday the 17th. And there will be live coverage online, I believe, on both their Facebook, that is New York's Facebook, and YouTube channels, Friday and Saturday at 10:30, I think, is the start of racing all week long. Hosted, I just love this photo. It's beautiful Harbor Court, formerly the Brown Mansion on the south end of the harbor in Newport, Rhode Island. One of the great yacht clubhouses in the world, along with St. Francis and the Royal Yacht. I can't talk today, Julia. I better have some more coffee.
Yes, good idea.
Royal Yacht Squadron, and of course you can talk about the Royal Sydney Yacht Squadron's clubhouse. You can talk about Royal New Zealand's.
How about Monte Carlo?
That's more than a yacht club. That's just an amazing.
I know.
That's a boating club. That's a social club. It's a country club. It's a fabulous clubhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, that cup was full. Iced coffee, no alcohol in it. Probably should have had some alcohol in it. Checking in, Ryman said he had done the Cadbury tour some years ago. Can you get chocolate beer? That I've never heard of, Jody Shields. Jody's waking up down in Wanji, north of Sydney. David James, across the bay in Sausalito. Hi, David. It's hard to imagine New York Yacht Club without Harbor Court. Yeah. And remember, David, they had all those years, Julie, as you would know, they had different stations around Long Island Sound and up the East Coast, down in Annapolis even, out of which they ran their regattas because their main clubhouse is on 44th Street.
Yeah.
In Midtown, landlocked in Midtown Manhattan.
I had the privilege of staying at Harbor Court right after it opened, and I will never forget because the welcoming lady said, "Oh, and I hope we can stay because somebody from the white bread circuit is going to talk to us tonight."
The white bread, meaning the whip bread.
Yeah,
I hope you told her it's the whip bread.
I know.
The white bread.
I love it, though.
You were probably in the Queen's room.
We were in the Commodore's suite.
Oh, no, you and your late husband?
Yes.
Or one of your boyfriends? Sorry, you can wave your finger at me.
You know better than that.
I do. Good morning from all from a sunny Halifax, Maura Stevens. Hi, Maura. Good to see you back. Stingray, impressive royal casket. Does it look a little larger than necessary? I don't know about that, Stingray. Steve Groover saw a great tribute. Yeah, we read that, mentioned that. In the UK, Gordon Smith is saying it was the Quakers who dominated the chocolate industry in the I didn't know that, in the 20th century. On and on and on. Replying to John Emmett, I don't know.
Had a banana beer.
Yeah, but there's something about I had a long-term girlfriend, Emily, who I dedicated my first book to, who lived in Birmingham. I did the tour. Oh, I see. That's why he was up at the Cadbury's. And David James talking about Royal Hong Kong Yacht Club. Yeah, Royal Hong Kong's a pretty nice facility. Royal Freshwater Bay. Greg Phillips, good point. The Royal Freshies on the Swan River in Perth is beautiful. Fritz Mueller, hi to you down in sweltering Miami. What is a banana beer, Julia?
Damned if I know.
Pretty sure you can get any sort of beer these days. Well, we'll maybe have to do a special show on International Beer Day and have Jody take us through all the different kinds of beers.
Yeah, our tummies would be better if we didn't have to taste all of them.
Well, that's true. Plus, not only our tummies, but in terms of the size of our tummies.
Yeah.
You know, beer has estrogen in it. And estrogen causes fat to adhere to your body, which is why women have estrogen. Well, it's what the estrogen in women causes fat adherence, which is good for the baby when it's born in a, in a famine.
Right.
So the woman's got plenty of, extra insulation on her body to produce milk and so on for the babes. And that's why men get beer bellies from the estrogen in the beer.
Oh, it's
and the carbs and the
yeah.
Carry on.
That's why they feed beer to pregnant ladies.
Indeed.
Especially dark beer.
And to pigs. Yeah, they do. Ask my sister Ruth, the farmer.
I know, but it was not a good segue.
Okay, it was not a good segue. You're true. Sorry, any women, especially pregnant women. That was a non sequitur. William Haynes, checking in from Independence, Missouri. Boulevard Brewing makes a great chocolate stout. Okay, there you go. There's your answer. Greasing from BY Roger Locker. I think he meant greetings. Maybe he's greasing down at Balboa Yacht Club. I'll stick a photo on Twitter. John Emmett is saying, I recon we like, Al, this is a sailing show, or it's an alcohol show with a sailing habit, Julia.
Yeah.
Kobe cows. David James says that I think he means they feed beer to Kobe cows for Kobe beef. We'll get Peter Gilmore on here to tell us about that, or Wagyu beef anyway. Pregnancy Illustrated, Gordon Smith. John Emmett, my mom had Guinness for the iron. Yeah, right. I love the stuff. Well, John had it in utero, it sounds like.
Yes,
okay, so let's carry on here. We're getting carried away. Speaking of John, let's get to his bi-weekly. He sends us, every show he sends us a report. The Coach's Corner with John Emmett, and he is in, I've learned how to pronounce this, Julia. This is, you like Schiphol Airport? It's Scheveningen. So apologies to anybody who speaks Dutch better than, I don't speak Dutch at all. Scheveningen Pier, where John is, that's the Kerr House again in the background in John's report from earlier this morning.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the FOSI. Trying to do some on the water recording. It's always pretty difficult. Let's see if I can zoom out and you'll get a few more boats in the background. You'll see they're sailing away from me rapidly downwind, but I'm pretty safe up here because the current is very strong. In fact, I'm surprised we got to start away so much. So the mark nearest me is the windward mark. I'm having to sail, or rather drive, quite quickly to get, well, just to stay in the same place. And I have been motoring on the start line, recording the start line and motoring. Quite hard to sail in the same place, and the sailors who haven't noticed this have actually almost boarded me. So that's why it's so important to have this specific venue training, just nothing else like it. And we're gradually learning the currents as a team here at the Merging Nations program, and it's really good to get this time on the water. It's a coaches regatta, so everybody's up close and personal and filming their sailors, and we're all trying to achieve the same thing. To learn a little bit about what will be the most important event next year. Real world events continue. I don't even remember a few months back was talking about the situation with the Ukraine and the fact this is going to be something that is months, not weeks, maybe even years. And I said I'm not surprised the counteroffensive comes now in terms of the sort of supply lines and all the rest of it, and it will be a sad and an ongoing thing. And although it's probably not making the news so much as it was earlier, it's a real thing. And whenever people are struggling with the fuel costs and all the rest of it, and my heart also goes out to them, there's people who are struggling for their lives. So yeah, every day on the water is a good day, and actually get to film on a nice bright sunny day today, as opposed to last time. It was actually a very short piece about the sad death of Elizabeth II, because it was just about to rain. So you saw the nice white fluffy clouds behind me, but in front of me the whole world was dark. And the royal family, they're pro sailing. I remember when I did the National Schools Regatta, I had my award given to me by Princess Anne, and yeah, there's photos of a very young John Emmett milking royalty out there. And it's hard when you look at the colonialism of the British Empire in the past. I think, crikey, yeah, if you think about how many countries actually celebrate their independence from the UK now, you can see, I think it must be about on average one a week. But we are in the situation we are now, and actually it feels that the UK is probably more aligned to the Commonwealth countries in some respects than Europe. But yeah, it's very sad time, and yeah, it's just one of those days like the death of Andrew Simpson, which also happened while I was in Holland, that we'll remember for a very, very long time. But anyway, my sailors are progressing downwind, so I better go and catch them up. Hope you have a great show, and probably see you all later. Bye.
Thank you, John Emmett. And a nice pan around that he does here at the end with his camera back to the shore. Scheveningen, which is just outside of Den Haag, The Hague. Julie, you were going to say.
No, it's nice to have that view.
It is indeed. You were trying, Julia, was during this video, was trying to get rid of whoever this Crouton Rejoice idiot. We'll get them blocked and taken off. But that's okay. That means we're popular, Julia.
Oh, might be able to do it here.
Yeah, okay. You see if you can get rid of them, maybe on your phone. Yeah, the Princess Royal, Princess Anne, is accompanying Her Majesty apparently wherever she is going in her casket, and bless her heart. I know Princess Anne reasonably well. She, of course, is a sailor. Many of you, I'm sure, do, because she has been President of Honor of the just President of the Royal Yachting Association for years. She's also President of the FEI, the International Equestrian Federation, being a horsey that she is, and just a wonderful person. I still assert that she may be, other than Her Majesty the Queen, I think she may be the brightest of that whole clan. It's too bad, perhaps, in some respects, she was not born first. But who knows how that would have affected her. Let's get on with today's show, which is about the Rolex Big Boat Series here in San Francisco. It starts this Thursday, the 14th, runs through Sunday at St. Francis Yacht Club, the esteemed St. Francis Yacht Club, Julia's home club, my adopted club. We're delighted to have Staff Commodore Ken Glidewell with us live via Skype from the other side of San Francisco. Ken, sir, welcome.
Hi, Tom. How you doing?
Never better, thanks. How are you?
Great.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Any comments to what we've covered so far, including Her Majesty the Queen?
No, it's so sad that the Queen has passed, but I think we all kind of were starting to prepare for that. But I'm a dark chocolate fan personally.
And talk about non sequitur. Julie, you making any progress with the Crouton?
No.
Okay. Yeah, Ken, let's go into this because it's a fabulous week for the club. And then, of course, next week is the Stag Cruise where the male members go off to Tinsley Island, the club's island, for a retreat. The women have been up there this past weekend. They have their retreat as well. But it's Big Boat Series Week, the club's signature regatta. Here's a shot from last year. You can see, in fact, I'll go down here to camera 4. And obviously, St. Francis Yacht Club, this big, long, beautiful club, kind of Spanish-style club here. This is looking southwest, really. The bridge is over here on this end of the shot, just off the shot. This is the famous Palace of Fine Arts, the POFA, as we call it, which was built for the, Julie, the 1915 Pan-Pacific Conference. Was that what it was called? Exposition.
Exposition, yeah.
Which celebrated the opening of the Panama Canal, and really right here.
And the rebirth of San Francisco after the earthquake.
Good point. Very good point indeed. 1906 earthquake. And the Beach Street Yacht Club, from whence we are broadcasting, is just at the end of a block, just right about here, a couple blocks in from the water and a block from the Palace of Fine Arts. But I digress. As usual, the 2022 edition of the Rolex Big Boat Series welcomes 5 one-design classes, the J105, the J88, J70, Express 37, and historically significant Cal 40, monohulls with an LOA of greater than 30 feet and a current ORC International Rating Certificate, and classic yachts built prior to 1955 that are longer than 48 feet overall and have a current ORR Res Rating Certificate. Ken, maybe I'll push on for a couple more slides and then come to you. Though the Rolex Big Boat Series, the RBBS as it's affectionately known here at St. Francis, has always welcomed handicap racing, this marks the first year that St. Francis is racing under the ORC rating rule. The decision published by the club in early 2022 hinged on a commitment to being an international leader in sailboat racing, which entails hosting regattas that use the most widely accepted rules. Ken, any comment on this change? I know it's caused a bit of grumbling, but it's also, I think, been widely accepted.
Yeah, we started the conversation end of third quarter, fourth quarter last year. We were getting a lot of input from some of our international sailors and professionals who sail in Europe. And then we took a survey of yacht clubs in the U.S. to see where they were thinking, and we decided it's better to be a leader than a follower. So we went ahead and made the decision, and we're happy about it.
Commodore, I should mention that you're the vice chairman of the Big Boat Committee. Susan Rooney, who's the chair and has been chair for what, 5, 6, 7 years. How long have you been vice chair?
Just since I was Commodore, I became vice chair right after.
So 2020 was your year. Before we go further, why don't, because Julie, I know, is going to want to ask you this and others. What was it like being Commodore of a major yacht club in the year of COVID?
Wow. Well, Tom, it was, the year started out somewhat normal. We did, have some staffing changes in the beginning of the year. So we were already dealing with some changes. And then come middle of March, COVID hit, and we had to make some quick decisions. And then our chairman at the time, Paul Caird, and I talked, and we formed a COVID task force. And we started, handling the process really in hindsight of what to do and how to manage it and how it's going to affect the club and, everything really. Events, regattas, staff, members, there's a lot involved. I personally reached out to many of my colleague or peer Commodores across the country. Newport Harbor, Balboa, Seattle, Annapolis, Southern, Chicago, and New York. And we had some private conversations so we could understand, how it was hitting in the respective clubs. Seattle, it kind of hit first. And so we were talking quite a bit in the beginning. So it was interesting, obviously. Not something I wish on any other Commodore. But I think with Paul and myself, leading the club, I think we did a good job getting through it.
Commodore, I know one of your biggest fans is sitting right here in the studio with me, and you said very kind things about us when you came on, but she has been singing your praises since your Commodoreship and the job you did. I see John McNeil has signed on. Staff Commodore John McNeil was Commodore back, in the 1990s sometime, wasn't he? Commodore McNeil, welcome. Talking about the the ICOYC, International Council of Yacht Clubs, which I think also chimed in with guidance. But Commodore McNeil, John is saying, Ken served very well, providing stability to what could have been a bad situation. Indeed, Ken, that COVID coordinating, what was it called? Steering committee?
It was the COVID task force. And
it still exists. It's still in business and still monitoring the situation, and even as we hopefully are coming out of this.
Yeah, they're still holding meetings, not daily or 2 or 3 times a week like we were, but I think they're down to once a month or a couple times a month. And I certainly hope they're able to put that committee to rest here soon, but they're still in operation.
Let's go back, shall we, to the Big Boat Series. And unless anybody has any questions, or Julie, you have anything to add to that whole?
No one will ever forget that year. I'm just sorry you missed some of the great fun of that.
Well, and his successor also had a rough year. 2021 was no easy, so that was also difficult. But we're through it, hopefully. And you're looking, Ken, at 2 of the people who never got COVID, in part because I think the yacht club's policies, in part because we decided to hunker down here early. Did you get it, Ken?
I never got it. No,
not yet. Knock on.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, because I still know people. We all still know people who are getting it every week.
Yeah.
Sometimes more than once.
Yep.
And so on. In fact, I met a guy at the St. Francis Yacht Club bar the other night. I won't mention his name, who I hadn't seen. He disappeared for 4 years. and he was back sailing the Canars last weekend, I guess. And he said, "Remember me?" And I said, "Yes, of course." And he said, "Well, I've disappeared because I've had long COVID, and it's every bit worse than what they say." So,
yeah, I sit on the membership committee, and we're still having people respond and take leaves with COVID.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Well, Ken, you're a real trooper, and you have been for years and years, and maybe we'll make fun of you in this year's member show at the Stag Cruise, which we didn't have a chance to do in 2020 because the Stag Cruise was essentially canceled. But back to the Big Boat Series.
Yes.
We were talking about the rule. Do you want to comment any further about the ORC and that whole business?
No, I think it's good. There's a little bit of growing pain. I think we have 2 or 3 boats that are still waiting for their certificate so they can race this weekend. But it's been really good, and we're pleased with how the process has worked and the conversion and the adoption by all the competitors. So we're very positive about it.
Okay, how about this fleet, which some people say, Ken, that it's become the J Fest, which is a bit unfair because we still have classic yachts. Certainly not the big fleet of the old traditional IOR boats, the big IOR boats we used to have, but it still is a big boat series. And the J105s continue to have the biggest turnout, do they not?
Yeah, we have, 29 plus or minus 105s for this regatta. And, there are a bunch of really good sailors. I think we have 6 or 7 previous Rolex winners sailing in the 105 fleet this year. So it's very competitive. I've sailed in that boat many times, and they're good boats, and I enjoy, asymmetricals, kite, and everything. So, it's a big fleet, and we like big fleets, and it looks good.
Well, it's also a good boat on the bay in breezy, rough conditions, which, by the way, looking out there now, we've got a webcam from Treasure Island. Those of you know the local geography, that's looking now to the kind of southwest again from Treasure Island to the city front. Big Sailforce Tower, the tallest building there, the Transamerica building, the pointed building, and that's the Bay Bridge. It's a live shot, courtesy of Merci. I'm not sure I spelled their name right, but it's MER, maybe small SEA restaurant over in Treasure Island. And I think, Ken, it looks like it's laid down a bit, but it still can be really breezy this time of year, like we see in this J105 shot. It can be breezy this time of year, or you can have a day when it's really getting into the October regime of very light air, flat, so light that you can't even sail.
Yeah.
What do you think? Have you looked at a weather forecast for this weekend?
I've been monitoring it for about a week now. And of course, we had that heat wave that came through last week. And it seemed like the fog is back now. So I think we're going back into a normal pattern. And the normal pattern is, light in the morning and breezy in the afternoon. And so maybe the sailmakers will have a little work in the evening to repair sails and spinnakers and so forth. So,
well,
I got fingers crossed.
It's definitely laid down from where it was, Julia, this morning. The windows here at the Beach Street Yacht Club at 0600 were rattling.
Yeah.
It was really breezy here in the marina. And then, Ken, when you and I were looking at this webcam during the tech check about an hour ago, well, it's bumpy, but it doesn't look as white-cappy as it was. The road signs are still blowing around a bit. So there's still some pretty good breeze out there.
Wendy says it's going to be a gust between 20 and 30.
When?
This afternoon.
Oh, this afternoon. But I wonder how it is this weekend. Have you seen a forecast for this weekend, Ken?
I haven't. I was looking at Wendy earlier because when we were doing, pre-check, I did see a lot of white caps, and so I was trying to figure out if it was tide or wind and tide or what.
Yeah, it looks like there is. It looks like there's it's on an ebb, like the tide's going out, and that's why it's perhaps a bit rough there. Now we're looking back toward Pac Heights, Pacific Heights, and in Fort Mason, you'll see the yacht club. Barely, you can't really distinguish the yacht club, I suppose, but you can see the Palace of Fine Arts, the big dome in a sec here.
Yeah, this is the northeast part of the city here.
Yeah, we swing around to the bridge, and there's the Palace of Fine Arts just coming into view, and the yacht club really is between us and the palace, I think, in this shot.
Right.
You can see it's still pretty bumpy, but I think you're right. We must be on an ebb, the water going out to the west against the incoming westerly breeze.
Yeah, and we have a start that's going to be right off that shore there. So if people are using this camera, they'll be able to see the starts. And then they'll sail up to the cone of Alcatraz and then pop on over and do the city front bounce and then, around the marks and do it all over again. So,
But that's, excuse me, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, that's really the venue right here. And off to the right, I don't think this camera quite gets to Alcatraz, but this is the venue for the Big Boat Series coming up this Thursday through Sunday, the signature event, which is what, Ken, been going on since
1964, yeah.
Staff Commodore R.C. Keefe, there's Alcatraz, just peeking in there on the right.
Yeah, Commodore Keefe lobbied to start this regatta, and it became the premier West Coast regatta. So we take our hats off to Commodore Keefe.
That was also my very first day as a guest at the St. Francis Yacht Club, was on Big Boat Series 64.
And you were so impressed, you've been a member ever since.
Well, I've been acting like a member ever since. I've only been a member for about 50 years, but
Well, for a long time, you and your husband were both members when you really didn't have to be, just to support the club. And what great members you've been. Back to the J105s, Ken. The website says that the J105 class will be especially exciting as the RBBS falls 2 weeks before the class's North American Championship hosted across the bay. I assume San Francisco Yacht Club is hosting them?
Yeah, the Yacht Club across the bay is hosting the North Americans. And right now we have more 105s at Big Boat than they have signed up for their regatta. So
there's no competition between San Francisco and St. Francis, is it?
Well, yeah, I do, but most everyone's very cordial.
Well, there are a lot of members of both.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, to be fair, San Francisco Yacht Club, which originally started in the city, then moved to back in the late 1800s, I guess, then moved to Sausalito.
Yeah.
And then moved from Sausalito over to where they are now in Belvedere, Tiburon.
Yeah.
And that was before the bridge. And people said, oh, well, we don't want to go over there by ferry back and forth, so we'll start another club, and really a group spun off. And St. Francis is the child of San Francisco Yacht Club, which is actually the senior club. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, if you ever want the full history, you just contact Staff Commodore Kimball Livingston, and he can give you the whole lowdown on all the pieces. Chapter
and verse, indeed.
And
a lot of go ahead, Julie.
Oh, there's some in that website too.
A lot of questions, but so we've got the J105 North Americans being hosted across the bay in a couple weeks' time. The top 10 boats in this fleet are always massively competitive, and of course, having lots of boats of the same class helps lift everyone's game.
Yeah,
that's an editorial comment from me. But continuing, as evidenced by the fact that 6 different boats have won the past 7 years of RBBS, with only one repeating champion, Ryan Simmons Blackhawk, winning in 2019 and repeating in 2021.
Right.
Both years, Blackhawk outsailed second place Nene by only a few points. What is that, Hawaiian for something?
It's a Hawaiian goose.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Nene or Nene?
Nene.
Nene by only a few points. So expect that rivalry to be supercharged. Are you sailing in a 105 this year, Ken?
No, I'm not. I'm got shore duty this year.
So you're taking care of the muckety mucks, the VIPs from Rolex, and doing some commentary, I suppose.
Yeah, well, last year I did some commentary, did some VIP tours, took out some of the guests, and I haven't sailed Big Boat in probably 10 years, maybe 12. I started sailing it in the early 90s and then stopped around 2002-ish, 2004.
Well, and you've got a young kid too. You've got a family and so. Well, Jody Shields says that Whitecap with a beer for sailors, we will be rich. He wants to start a beer. Here we are back on beer here at Sailing Alcoholic, Alcoholic Illustrated. State bird of Hawaii, Steve Gruber is telling us.
That's correct. Nene.
Nene, thank you. Josh Toso. Hello, Josh.
Oh, look at that.
Esteemed marketing director for U.S. Sailing. Both St. Francis and San Francisco have worked very well together for the U.S. Open, and we very much appreciate their support. Nice comment, Josh. Thank you for coming on.
Josh is a good guy. I was just talking with him this past week.
He is a good man. Sangmeister is on here. He's saying ORC is a disaster. The rule does not act, and of course he's a big boat sailor of considerable repute. The rule does not accurately measure riding moment if he uses a plug, which means that it never actually measures speed potential, idea accurately, or she is more of a design marketing rule than a reading role, and owners of older boats will some punctuate you. I know he went to USC, Julia, not Stanford.
We'll forgive him. We'll forgive
But
him.
they have a good football team, but maybe they didn't teach punctuation there, John.
Well, John's a long time, big boat sailor. So,
Yeah.
I'd like to investigate what he's saying a little further.
Well, he's talked to me privately any number of times about ORC, and he thinks that well, we don't need to go into it, but we shall invite John on again. In fact, we were very, very close friends, Julie, as you know, and I talk to John regularly. And we'll see what else others. John Schaefer, who's in Annapolis on the East Coast, also a big boat sailor. We'll see what he has to say about ORC versus other offshore.
He does have a comment about state bird.
Yes. State bird 747. Without it, Hawaii would not exist. Good point, John Schaefer.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. My grandmother used to go out there by cruise ship. But here we go. We're digressing again. Let's get back to the big boat series. There's also, Commodore, there's a class of classics, and this has only been, the 4 or 5 years now that we've had classics, and it's been enormously popular.
And beautiful.
4th or 5th year, and I own a Canar, a wooden Canar, and I love the classics, and we're just trying to figure out how to make this fleet keep growing. We're already up to 6 or 8 boats this year, and the guys and gals who own those boats are spending time and money and making them more competitive. Let's put it that way.
I think I should ask another classic to read this caption on this photo, Julia. You can read the caption on this photo since you're a classic.
As always, the classics will feature a fleet of head turners ranging from the 1928 vintage Water Witch to the 1924 vintage Brigadoon to the gorgeous Mayan, sailed by Vice Commodore Bo Froelich.
Yeah, and Ken, tell us about Mayan, because that boat is historic in many ways.
Oh yeah, that's Mayan has a pretty storied past and some famous previous owners. And then Bo is, I should say Vice Commodore Froelich has spent a lot of time and money, refitting the yacht. And I saw him Sunday out practicing and fine tuning his sails. Also, Staff Commodore Terry Klaus owns Brigadoon.
Yes.
And he and his daughter will be sailing that, sharing helm duties on that one.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous boat, too.
Yeah, and do you remember who the previous owner of Mayan was, Julia? Famous rock and roll musician, Ken?
I think it was Mr. Crosby.
You think, or you know?
I know.
Yeah.
And that Mr. Crosby is a good former citizen of Carpinteria.
Yeah.
Of Crosby, Stills, Nash,
Yes.
and at one time young fan.
Yeah.
And I think for those that grew up on the MTV era, I think this yacht was featured in a famous video too.
David Crosby, and at some point I am going to have Vice Commodore Bo Froelich on, probably next year when he's Commodore, because he tells wonderful stories about the negotiation with Mr. Crosby. Because he wanted to sell the boat, but he didn't want to sell it to any Tom, Dick, and Harry. He wanted to sell it, to a Bo, somebody,
Right.
I guess, who would take care of it.
Right.
And then the deal was, well, I'll give it to you. I'll keep it. I'll give it to you. You pay for the restoration or the upkeep and so on. You got to let me come sail on it. And he said, no, I'll buy it. We'll take care of it. And you can come sail with us anytime you want. And I guess he has come sail any number of times.
Mm-hmm.
Bo's got some great stories on the yacht Mayan.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments. Back, Jody Shields is still trying, and Gordon Smith are still trying to name their new beer brand. Boats, Chris Watts is saying boats like John's, meaning I'm not John's, I guess he's talking about John Sangmeisters, and Merlin get hammered in ORC. I think that's one of the problems John's got with the rule, because we're talking about Santa Cruz 50s or Santa Cruz 70s in that case. One too many twos in the next text. I don't know what that means. We are just doing exhibition sailing on Merlin, Chris Watts is saying. So a lot of back and forth. We're going to have a debate, Ken, Julia, at some point. We're going to have Stan Honey on. We're going to have John Sangmeister on. We may get somebody from U.S. Sailing's current offshore director or committee chair, maybe John Schaefer, who's very knowledgeable about rating rules and this sort of thing. And maybe we'll get Andrew McIrvin as well. And Andrew, do you know Andrew, Ken?
I don't know.
You've seen him on the show because I know
Yeah.
you're a regular watching here. Andrew McIrvin is the Secretary General of the IMA. He's a British surgeon.
Which is the IMA is the.
Sorry, thank you. The International Maxi Association. And he has been on the show any number of times, more often than not, to talk about COVID as well as the IMA. And he will be with us at Stat Cruise next weekend.
Make a point.
Yeah.
Make a point to talk to him. He's
Andrew
wonderful.
McIrvin. He's a former admiral of the RORC. He's a member of the Royal Yacht Squadron. Very interesting, bright guy. As Julia says, take a moment to. I think he'll end up on the Lighthouse Talk stage, and I may even stick him into the show, into the member show.
I look forward to talking to him when we're there.
He's wonderful.
So Commodores, meaning Julia and Ken, we've got a video coming up now that I want to roll. This is the video at the end of last year's Big Boat Series. So it's a kind of a nice video wrapping up from last year's, but in many ways telling us all how cool this event is and how nice it no doubt will be again this year. Have a look.
Describe Big Boat Series. It's cold.
Can't believe that it's happening again, and this is really awesome.
The Rolex Big Boat Series really showcases being able to sail in this wonderful venue we have.
A Rolex Big Boat Series. Big win, big fun.
Commodore, I'm going to turn the audio down now on that video. Maybe you can do a little more voiceover with us. Tell us about the history of the event and what to expect this year.
All right. Well, we're expecting 80 plus or minus yachts racing. I think it's going to be some great racing. And given the fleet sizes, all are 8 or more per fleet, I think we're going to have a very competitive regatta in all classes. I also think that, the J105 fleet has an over 29 boats signed up. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. Additionally, if you come down to Marina Green or the Yacht Club and watch the regatta, you'll see the classics start and finish right off of the race deck. So that'll be a lot of fun. I want to thank our sponsors, of course, and Rolex up top of the list. But we have a lot of other sponsors that are supporting us as well. And there's Mojo. That's Jeff Litvin. I sailed with him back when he was sailing J24s. He's a former America's Cup grinder. He's sailing the regatta. Staff Commodore Bill Dana's racing his Santa Cruz 52 pinball wizard. So you got a lot of people who've got a lot of experience, and it's such a great regatta. I sailed it probably 12 or 15 years myself, and I found it so relaxing just to get out there and race and forget about everything. I see that right there. There was two of our juniors, and they sailed on Merlin last year. Well, that was. And Merlin is back again this year. Chris brought the boat back and did a little tour down Southern California and brought it up for the regatta. He's been out practicing and taking out juniors to indoctrinate them into what big boat sailing is all about. And of course, Merlin has a long history on the West Coast and in the Bay Area. So we're looking for a great regatta. Chairman Rooney is at the club right now and coordinating everything that's going on and getting everything ready for our Commodore's reception and kickoff tomorrow night. And then Great racing each day, great social activities in the evening, whether it's a party or a dinner, crew dinners or Saturday night at the club, upstairs in the main dining room. So, and then the final wrap up is Sunday. Have at least one race on Sunday, and then we have our Rolex trophy ceremony where we will be awarding 3 Rolex watches to a yet to be named fleet. And the fleets will be named tomorrow night at the Commodore's reception. So,
how do you determine who gets the Rolexes?
Yeah, that's a secret formula.
That's in the secret sauce. No, but it's in terms of how many boats and how many, how competitive the fleet is.
Yeah, I mean, we look at each fleet and determine, I don't want to say the most boats, but who has the most competitive group. And then, we have 2 ORC fleets I think are going to be announced, and then Express 37s and the Cal 40s and so forth. And so I think the groups will understand why they will receive a Rolex being the winner. So it makes sense in our mind, and it makes sense for our sponsor Rolex. And like I said, we really appreciate their involvement, and they've been with us for many years now.
We asked the Commodore of New York the other day how long Rolex had been. Do you remember, Julia, what he said?
I thought
60 years.
I thought he said 04. Could it be?
Oh no, it was longer than that. He's either said 40 years, 45 years. Somebody.
No, I mean 1904.
Oh no, it hadn't been that long. But I think he said 40, maybe 50 or 60 years. A long time. I was surprised how long they've been with New York. And of course they are, Ken, as you know, one of the great sponsors in the history of the sport.
And their team in North America, they're great people. I work with them regularly throughout the year, and I'll be with them over Friday and Saturday on a VIP boat. And we're looking forward to working with them again in the future. I think we started around 2001 with them, with some degree of sponsorship, and then I think they came on as the title sponsor, I want to say around 2006, 2007. I'd have to ask our historian the exact years, but
the aforementioned Staff Commodore Kimball Livingston.
Yeah.
Stingray is saying in the comments, yes, Commodore Z said that they had been Rolex with New York Yacht Club for 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that's since 1960, I guess, right? 60, 61. Yeah, they're junior sailors. This is a great thing that Chris Merlin, right?
Mm-hmm.
That owns Merlin. He's the lawyer from Florida. He and I raced Flying Scots against each other many years ago. But
really?
Yeah, I've known him for years and years and years, and he is just a wonderful guy. And again, we talked on the show the other day about all the people who have made a commitment. In fact, made an effort. Chip Merlin, thanks, Bill Porter.
Chip,
not Chris. Chip Merlin, and thanks, Bill Porter. And John McNeil is saying they became the title sponsor in 2003.
Was it?
A Big Boat Series, Commodore McNeil. So you have to, though, admire guys like Chip Merlin and the long list of people going back to Jim Kilroy and some of the other Maxi owners, John Sangmeister, our gang on It's Okay, George Carmody at New York Yacht Club. We could go on and on and on. We talk about people around the world who take kids regularly on the show. We talk about people around the world, notables who've taken youngsters on their boats in regattas like the Big Boat Series or in the beer can at their club. And it's just a fantastic.
Yeah, I don't want to stay too long on Merlin, but, Chip has been great. He's been very supportive of both Merlin, the yacht, of racing on the West Coast and getting the youngsters involved. And, of course, all sports need to keep the flow of new talent coming through, the Paul Kayards, the John Kosteckis of the world. And I think Chip is really contributing to that in a big way.
Absolutely. Julia?
Sir?
Were you going to say something?
Not now.
Oh, that's the first. Bill Porter is saying absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something we should all be doing, and something we're going to keep pushing on this show, like we're going to push the sponsors of any regatta, not just Rolex, but all your other sponsors, Ken. I know this has been a big part of your effort in this regatta, has it not?
Yeah, it has. I've spent all year, last couple years, since I was Commodore, developing sponsors for the regatta. We want to take it to another level. And with that comes dedication from both our membership, the sailing community in the Bay Area, sponsors like Rolex and Mustang and Quantum and West Marine. And, I'm working with all these people on a day-to-day basis. I was talking to Mustang people about 20 minutes before the show started, and they're all such great people. And I'm just proud that we have such good sponsors. And we have a couple that were close to being available for this year, but they're definitely coming on for next year. And so once those contracts or agreements are signed, I'll be able to announce that, and or the committee will be. And so it's growing, and we want to get, the regatta back to 125 yachts on the water, with anywhere from 5 to 15 competitors on each boat. And you can imagine the effort that it takes by our regatta committee, but also our executive race committee and our staff at the club. Our general manager, John Mars, has been fantastic since we hired him in 2020.
Away from American Yacht Club, we should add.
Yeah, he was at American. And, we're just very pleased that he's joined with us, and he's building his team. And so we got a lot of really exciting future for the club as well as for this regatta.
Stingray up in Seattle is asking, what do Mustang Survival produce?
They're a PFD. They started out as a PFD company, and they were doing a lot of offshore foul weather gear and PFDs, and then they've expanded to other areas in the sport. And I'm actually looking forward to going down to the trailer a little later today and seeing what they brought, and seeing what the new products are. They were acquired by a company called Wing about 3 years ago, I want to say. And they've just been expanding and increasing their product line, and they're very supportive of the industry.
Julia, I think we got to get Ken over here and have you joined Beach Street Yacht Club? I don't think we've gotten you as a member yet. Don't ask how to do it.
Don't ask.
Because you're banned for life, as you know. But we make it a policy not to have current flag officers of the yacht club, so we don't have any conflicts. But I think almost every past Commodore has become a Beach Street Yacht Club. We get you over here, Ken. We'll put you in charge. We'll make you the sponsorship commissioner. You've done such a good job for the Big Boat Series.
Yeah, well, that might be something I want to pass on to someone in the future.
But
I don't want it to be my career.
Well, it does as Gordon Smith says, he summed it up very, very well. It takes an enormous effort to run a regatta like this, and not least finding great sponsors to share the event. Well put, Gordon. Thank you very much for that. And John McNeil, who is a member of Beach Street Yacht Club, he's saying BSYC is a great but quiet group. Do it, Ken. We'll get Ken over here. Mark Curtis saying, years ago, Mustang made excellent kid-size PFDs. My kids had them in several sizes as they grew. Face up with lifting straps and very comfortable.
Oh, that's nice.
And Ted Ryman's published a link here to MustangSurvival.com.
Wow, thanks for doing that.
Nice. If you're just joining.
They did start as PFDs for kids. That's where when you see that logo or that mark, in my mind, that's where I instantly think. But they have now expanded. I've got some foul weather gear I bought last year, and I really like it.
Peter Taylor is saying BSYC membership will be the highlight of your sailing career. You know what we could do, Julia? Just for fun, we could make, since you're the way it works, we don't have committees. We have the Commodore. Yeah. And the Commodore makes all the decisions. She appoints commissioners, not committees. We appoint commissioners. We have a wine commissioner. We have a lot of different commissioners. We even have a disciplinary commissioner. Mario Schumann. You would expect that. And we would, I think, Julia, I'm the chairman, so I only make recommendations to the Commodore. we could appoint Ken the COVID commissioner.
Oh, he needs a better title than that.
Do you have a commissioner of loot? Because I think you were talking to someone about that one time.
KR called when he was chairman of the board, and before that, chairman of the finance committee at St. Francis. He called himself the commissioner of the loot.
He's doing pretty well in the stars.
Yeah, we're going to come to that. Well, we said it at the top of the show. I'm going to hopefully get results. It's now 1,700 out there on the East Coast. Yeah, you need to be committed, John McNeil says. I don't know what kind of a committed he's talking about. Made to a mental institution to join the Beach Street Yacht Club. Peter Taylor, who's from New York City. We have like 100 and almost 50 members now, I think. Peter Taylor's suggesting maybe you could be the tequila commissioner, Ken.
Well, at one time I had some experience there, but I've kind of backed off that.
I've got one more slide. And this, again, speaking of sponsorship, just to, again, thank Rolex for the not only for what they do for St. Francis and the Big Boat Series, but for all the events around the world that they sponsor. We're going to have another video from Yacht Club Costa Smeralda here at the end of this show from the Maxi Cup, Rolex Maxi Cup. Just to say that the 15th to the 18th, to wrap this up, is the 2022 Rolex Big Boat Series. And that will be televised live, Ken. Remind me if I'm wrong, but it will be televised live all 4 days or just the last day or two? Do you remember?
You know, that's in the media department. I want to say it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah,
but I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure that Saturday, Sunday is being live streamed to the presumably to the club's YouTube, maybe to the Rolex YouTube.
Yeah.
And I know that Sunday, because I'm helping Bob Sky with the prize giving under the tent between St. Francis and Golden Gate out there in the grassy knoll is a fabulous event. And we are not only doing live television and recording that, but it's also, I'm told last evening by Bob Sky, that it's being picked up again in live stream. So I'm going to switch the show with Bobby doing the audio on Sunday.
And, you know, all your viewers, if you're in the Bay Area, you can come and attend the trophy ceremony too. So normally you have to have a guest badge or a competitor badge to participate in all the events. But if you want to come to the trophy ceremony, that's open.
Again, so they're going to have to walk in because the parking will be suspect at best.
Oh, yeah.
So if they walk in, park someplace else or Uber in, and then between the two clubs, between St. Francis, same place that SailGP puts their VIP tent. You're going to have a marvelous tent if it's like last year's. I'm sure it will be. And
it's up already.
Is it? And we will stream that live on Sunday. And I'm pretty sure the racing, at least Friday and Saturday, is being streamed live. And if you just Google RB Rolex Big Boat Series, you'll find that.
Yeah, just spell it out. It's all on there. You know.
Commodore, anything else to talk about, to say, to mention?
Boy, I don't know. I think one thing that most people don't realize that we do is our nonprofit sustainability portion of the regatta. We have a chair of that, Meg Rexton, and she handles all that. We're vying to be a platinum level clean regatta again this year. Refillable water stations that West Marine has sponsored. There's a couple different things, but we're supporting our nonprofits. Oceanic Society, I think they take care of the Farallon and do some of that. So we're not just, a bunch of guys going out sailing. We're, guys, gals, kids, all genders, everything. And we like the sport of sailing. And we also want to take care of our environment and support the Bay as well. And we're just looking for a great regatta this year.
I'm sure it will be. And you left the door open to me to ask you, how many genders are there? I won't. I'm kidding. This is not Politics Illustrated. But
yeah, I'm not the best at politics there, but I'm sure we got it all covered.
Terrific stuff. Great stuff, Ken. Thank you very much. If you're just joining us, we're about an hour and 4 minutes into the show. We had Staff Commodore Ken Glidewell, who was Commodore here in the very difficult year 2022, the COVID 2020. Yeah. Thank you. That's why we have Julia here. We have Julia here, Ken, to keep me on the straight and narrow.
She's like a live fact checker, huh?
Well, she is. And then when you're live, we make mistakes because it's live TV. It's not edited.
That's why it's fun.
It is why it's fun. And Ken, as you know, we don't have any in all this stuff in front of me. I think I can get rid of that. maybe I can get rid of that screen for a second. There are there's no scripts, obviously. There's no teleprompters up here. I'm just switching between 18 scenes and trying to keep the audio intact and trying to keep Julia from having her phone or her watch ring during the show, one of her boyfriends calling. But Commodore, thank you very much indeed. Much appreciated.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us, Tom and Julia. You know, we're really proud of the Rolex Big Boat Series, and we're looking forward to having another great regatta this week.
One more question. It's from Stingray, and it's an interesting question. I think I already had 100 messages today. Have the algae blooms on the bay subsided? There's been a lot of publicity, not just here in San Francisco, but beyond, about the water quality here in the bay because of, you know, frankly, because of the headline in the Chronicle was because of the poop and pee in the bay.
And
well, they say it's because it's warmer. I'm not sure that's true. But
you know, I stopped getting the Chronicle, the printed newspaper, and so I get everything online now. I haven't kept track of the algae bloom. I know it's a lot better than it used to be when I was, you know, on the water every weekend in the 90s. It was, you know, pretty nasty. But the last couple of times I've been out on the NAR, the water looked good. But I have heard that people were saying that the algae bloom was, you know, strong this year, but I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll take a look at that and get back to you, Stingray. But I as well have not seen any publicity of late. I think it was more because somebody proposed a $16 billion spend to try to do an infrastructural spend. Algae bloom could be an interesting beer name, Jody Shields is saying. I don't think.
Tell Jody I like the Whitecaps beer name.
Yeah, right.
While we were talking, Ken, he said that he checked it out and there already is a Whitecap beer.
Oh.
I'm not surprised.
So, okay, Bill Porter, thanks for your comment. Thanks for setting us straight on Chip, not Chris, of course.
Yeah.
Merlin, and that's helpful. And Commodore, thanks again. It's great to have you on the show. You're going to stick around. We're not going to cut off the Skype connection, or you have to run.
Hang on for a little bit longer. I'm just got to see how many phone calls I've gotten since we started.
Well, I'll turn your mic off so you can don't take your pants off and do what was that guy on CNN?
Yeah, no.
Ed Worley saying NARS, the Canars rock, but we'll keep you here connected via Skype, and put your hand up if you want to say anything, or maybe I'll come back and ask you a question. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Ken. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Great stuff. Staff Commodore Ken Glidewell with us live via Skype from the other side of San Francisco today. He's vice chair of the 2022, did I get that right, Julia?
Correct.
Rolex Big Boat Series Committee at St. Francis Yacht Club, this being the 64, so it would have been almost 60 years. So this is the 58th year, right? If my math.
It might also be time to say that Susan Rooney's been chair for 8 years.
Yeah, she's done a great job.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned that, but she has done indeed a great job as the chair, and chairs it again this year. And we're indebted to her leadership and all of as Gordon Smith or somebody said, one of you said, it takes, you know, as you all know, to do a regatta like this, and all your clubs out there are doing, even small regattas. It takes a village.
It does.
Indeed. Okay, Bravo Zulu. We're moving ahead here. Bravo Zulu finally to the U.S. team that won a Sail GP event. It was a bit of a surprise, not entirely surprise, but after the Kiwis had done so well of late, and of course Tom Slingsby is always a threat, in Saint-Tropez last weekend, the United States won their first ever event victory as the Kiwis and Brits were beaten in the final, that 3-boat race. I have a couple videos. I've got they came out this morning, a long kind of 14-minute video, and I've cut it into 2 little bits to run first the intro and then the last little bit so you can see what happened on day 2. But it was really breezy day 1, and I got very light on day 2. Here's a look.
Welcome to the Mediterranean playground of Saint-Tropez, where the people watching turns to yacht race watching as the fastest sailboats of Sail GP hit the water for the Range Rover France Sail Grand Prix.
fast late run from them. But in the middle of the line, Jimmy Spitzel on board USA. It's USA, Denmark and Australia who look pretty good. France, here they come. Gontan de la Pierre, line's going to turn white. Wow. What a start. And New Zealand are there well out the back here. That magic trick's not worked today. It's Spitzel, and he's sending it hard in towards Mark 1.
So here we go, race number 1, the first race of 3, and they're on their way to mark number 1. The Aussies already having an issue there, and look at the Americans having a great start.
Look at the speed, over 90 kilometers an hour. It's going to get fast, and as they bear away from the wind here, it's going to be dangerous.
Hold it, not yet. Okay, coming up. Fine, rolling away now.
It'll be the Kiwis and then the Aussies, followed by the Canadians.
Oh, 97 on top of the New Zealand mast at the top of the rig there. That was so fast on that bear away. And the French, first to take the left turn, split the course. It's all action out here. Look how tight the fleet is, Todd. 22 seconds from 7th to 1st.
And important to note here, the Brits have broken the speed record already. Race 1, we've got a new top speed of 98.5 kilometers an hour. That was in that last gate. Absolutely ripping.
New Zealand, they slide inside Great Britain. Australia look like they've made it. It's going to be advantage Australia, but they're slow. New Zealand nearly twice the speed for the sprint to the finish.
So here we go. Great Britain goes from 1st to 3rd, and now it's a drag race between Australia and the Kiwis.
Watch the top of the mast here. This is the danger angle. We're going to see speed records up for grabs. Over red there on Australia. They've got to keep clear of New Zealand. Oh, my word.
They dip it.
Oh, he's crashed down. New Zealand. What a move from Burling.
Peter Burling was in dead last at mark number 1, and here he is taking the win in race number 1.
Oh, here we go, and Jimmy Spitzel from nowhere on board USA. He's charging through. Ainsley looks like he's going to get second, and can Australia make the turn down to the finish?
Okay, a nice little luff there, which caused, by the Kiwis, obviously, to cause Tommy Slingsby and the Aussies to take their nosedive, and it was breezy. And, the speed, that's going to be a speed record. Oh! I'm sorry, they're over the top of the commentary, but it's beautiful footage. It's great stuff. I for one, like day 1. Day 2 was another issue. We'll talk about that now. Sandusky Yacht Club, Tom Fishbeck is saying. He's Sandusky, I think it's called Sandusky Sailing Club, Tom, if I remember well. Unless there's also a yacht club that I didn't know about. Maybe there is. Maybe there's a powerboat club different from Sandusky Sailing Club. NZL are looking better and better. I agree, John Emmett. And Steve Gruber saying that's probably the only photo of the podium race, that one I ran at the top there at the start of this segment, that had 2 of the 3 boats foiling. Yeah, it was pretty light on the second day. And Stingray saying, yeah, the new flight controller, Hans Henken, is finally nailing it. Yeah, and a lot of you have been commenting that's what they probably needed to do. And indeed, that probably is what Team
the difference.
USA probably is the difference. Team Canada touched 54 knots, Stingray is saying. Is that right? I didn't realize that. What are people's thoughts on the TV coverage on day 2? Well, Jody, we're going to look at day 2 now. Luis G. Who was Luis? I'm not sure who that is. Awesome. Welcome, Luis. But let's have a look now at day 2 video highlights.
Unfortunately be null and void, and that could be a big disastrous moment for some of these crews. Canada especially, can they get it in there in time?
Canada's got a time limit. 10 seconds to cross that finish line to make this official, and this is going to be very close.
Oh, it's so close.
I don't think they're going to get it.
Oh, no.
1, 2, 3,
Race
4, 5.
Oh, Melanie Roberts.
Seconds away, and Melanie Roberts, the race manager, terminates race number 5.
Oh, no. New Zealand are early. They're going to be over. It's going to be a false start there for the New Zealand boat.
This is the umpires. OCS New Zealand over the line early.
Oh, he looked early for a while, Todd.
Delayed start.
He needs to go back behind the other 2 boats at Mark 1, and Peter Burling is going to need to work out how to overtake in a final if he hopes to win the race from here. Great jibe by the USA. Can no, Britain force it. They fall off the foils. That's disaster for the British crew. They need to get things flying again soon. Brilliant work by Hans Henken on the flight control of the US boat. And the US are going to streak away after Mark 1 with New Zealand as well on the foils. It's going to be tight down towards gate 2. Look at that, USA. They're already pointing up towards gate 3. Great news for Jimmy Spithill and his crew. New Zealand, well, they're going to struggle to make a move from there.
And the pressure.
In just the past 20 seconds, we've seen the USA team put 50 meters on the Kiwi boat.
So they are H1 flying that hole, and you saw how gingerly Emily Ryu, the tactician, crossed over.
Still the pressure looks up though, eh? Yeah, you're gonna get it here. Good.
There we go, the US pop up on the foils. It's tight. Andrew Campbell sat on the other side of the boat to everyone else. He's trying to find that final finish line here, the gate, just a few meters away, 100-meter lead.
Jimmy Spithill and the Americans have claimed the victory here at the Range Rover France Sail Grand Prix.
What a great result for the team. It's everyone's been really sort of digging it in, putting a lot of hard work in. We had some flashbacks there from last year here, and you know, Rookie and I had quite the discussion of that last top mark, and he made a fantastic call. So yeah, just a great overall result for the team. Short team coaching, really stoked to do this, and now we start our comeback in the season.
Okay, so that was Saint-Tropez. We got another event in 2 weeks' time coming up. But here's a little summary from the Brits, a nice video summary of their weekend from their perspective.
Polar opposites between yesterday and today. Yesterday we're fighting cavitation, we're trying to keep the boat under control, and today we're really just trying to work out what mode to sail, whether we need to be 2 hulls in, 1 hull in, or trying to go for the foil, and it's a completely different skill set. Came into day 5th and we came out of the day 3rd, so you've got to be happy with that. Really proud of the team for being able to make the final race when we missed the race because of damage yesterday. But at the same time, it's never easy to come last in the 3-boat race, so we'll go back and we'll have a look and see what we could have done better. And Cadiz is just around the corner. We'll go away and we'll do a bit of debriefing, and we'll just try and come there with a few different things to work on and just keep improving.
Yeah, that's a nice recap. That's Ian Jensen, a.k.a. Goobs. John Emma said Gobs, but that was obviously a typo in the comments. Nice to see him looking so well. Stingray saying, yeah, I didn't have it in the video, but he's saying it was clever by Jimmy Spithill when the TV announcers were trying to ask a question of the French Olympian who was on board with the Team USA this weekend. She couldn't get her mic to work, so after they asked her something, Jimmy responded, quote, "She is trying to tell you how great it is to be sailing with such a great-looking bunch of sailor guys," Julia.
Yep, I saw that.
That was clever.
Yeah.
Goobs looks like he has a Mexican hat on, Jody Shields was saying. So that was Sail GP. I wanted to make one other observation. You may have seen there was a split second in the British, the video with Goobs et al. Of this. They put this graphic on their hull for the regatta, which I thought was, it's not surprising. Sir Ben Ainslie, classy guy, and a very classy thing to do, commemorate Her Majesty the Queen. I liked it a lot. And bravo Zulu to Sir Ben.
Experience that
so this is the closing video that they're running on the website. I just thought we'd run it here for a sec. Don't need to see too much of this.
Quite some time, and so they will make the most of it.
The Americans finally winning
We talk about
the regatta.
and now with Cadiz just 2 weeks away, this could not have come at a better time for the Americans.
It's the perfect way to.
Could not have come for a better time. Gordon Smith saying, yeah, can I point out that my crews, the Brits and the Danes, are lying in 3rd and 4th in the overall standings. And speaking of the overall standings, Australia is still in the lead, but only by a slim point. Tom Slingsby over his cross-Tasman rivals, Peter Burling et al. On the New Zealand team, 42 to 41 points. Quite a comfortable lead over 3rd place Brits, and 4th place the Danish team with Nikolai Sehested. just a point behind Sir Ben, and then on down from there, France, Canada, the U.S. Now, there was a strange thing we're going to talk about in Correct or Crutonic about some points that were deducted from the U.S. team's overall score. Julia, you looking askance, and I don't
I didn't
blame
hear
you.
about that.
Yeah, I didn't either. We're going to talk about that under Correct or Crutonic in a sec. But that's Sail GP Saint-Tropez, the next event in 2 weeks' time, just 10 days from now, in fact, in Andalucía, Cadiz in España, in Spain, and we'll cover that as well. Maybe have a little bit of a preview for that in a week's time. Speaking of Correct or Crutonic, let's go to that. And John Emmett saying, is this about the damage caused? I'm not really sure what happened. I haven't had time to go investigate. I was sure some of you would. I talked to Mark Husted this morning, who's in Sweden and who follows Sail GP for us very closely. And what happened was that the U.S. team, of course, won, but during the event, according to the press release, there was one sentence in the Sail GP press release that said, however, an incident with France during racing saw the U.S. penalized 4 points from their season total, meaning they failed to climb the championship rankings and remain in 7th place after 5 events. So I found that strange. In other words, they don't take points away from your event score for something that happens in a serious damage case, apparently, during the regatta. They take it away from your season score. So I ask you, is that correct or Crutonic that there's a points penalty only after the event? Now, maybe those of you who are watching know more about it. Hopefully somebody watching will know more about it than I. Jody Shields is saying it was during a practice race. And is that right, Jody, that if the damage, this was a race in France, if it happens in a practice race, you take points away from your season score, but not from your regatta score. Is that right? That's what Jody is saying. Can I just point out that yeah, okay, we did. So I don't know if anyone else has a view about whether this is correct or Crutonic, and or whether an event, well, whether it's correct or Crutonic. And maybe that's why, because it was an event that it was a damage, it was an incident that happened during a practice race, so they didn't want to penalize them for this event. I guess that's okay, but it's strange. It seems strange, but maybe not.
Well, if it were done on purpose, then there has to be a way to correct it. I'm sure it wasn't, but I mean,
yeah, I'm sure it wasn't on purpose.
No.
But even if it does happen during that regatta, you don't penalize them for that regatta. You penalize them for the overall season standing. What do you think? Correct or Crutonic? What do you think? I think we need more information about it to make a decent call, Gordon Smith is saying. Stingray is saying they're putting a huge premium on collision avoidance. Well, okay.
That makes sense.
I don't see a lot of comments forthcoming here. People are kind of scratching their heads. Bill Canfield, hello, Mr. President of the Virgin Islands Sailing Association, or at least he was last I knew. It was an abandoned race after an N flag start, an abandoned start. Okay, so not a practice. I guess we don't know enough about it. So it's understandable, John Emmett is saying, world sailing penalizing folk after the fact. Well, that may be part of it, is that they didn't reach the penalty until after the fact, but should be an events only penalty, Stingray is saying, not season points. So he thinks it's Crutonic. I would have thought, Julia, that they would keep it to the event and not go ahead and do something in season points, because but if they'd done it for the event, presumably the American team wouldn't have won. So I don't know. It's strange. It's strange, but maybe that's the way forward. A lot of people think the penalty system is strange. Any other comments? Doesn't seem to be strong opinions one way or another. Jody, who of course did a lot of commentary for Sail GP and did a fantastic job. Sail GP have put a policy in place for this season regarding collisions. So the points are deducted from overall points, as this has more bearing on the season. Has more bearing. So it's to further, according to Jody, I think, Julia, that probably makes sense, further emphasize the anti-collision, the importance of avoiding collisions.
And an 8 points penalty was for damage to French.
8 points in the season championship. Bill Wingrove saying the fix it. I don't think Russell would do that. I don't think he would purposely try to fix an event by doing that. Obviously, it's a policy that has been in place. I'm just wondering if the policy is correct. If spare parts are so sparse, then damage can have an impact over more than one event. Gordon Smith is saying that's a point.
Mm-hmm.
Practice, Don Lunabos should saying it should just have been a warning. Well, again, the boats are being provided or chartered or leased. Stingray, it may have to do with the penalty USA took for barging inside France at a bottom mark on day 2. I don't know when it happened. I'm wondering if Commodore Ken Glidewell, who's still here. Kenny, do you want to comment on this?
No, I kind of agree. We need more information, make a determination.
Yeah, that's probably, as usual, a wise comment, Julia, from one of our
absolutely
wise commenters, of whom you are very fond, I know.
And I know that.
Clark Chapin saying, sorry, coming in late after a visit to the rehab to his wife. How's she doing, Clark? Hope she's continuing to progress. Who is enjoying her, well, she sounds like she is, her tube-free status as of yesterday. Andrew Pindar saying, drive it like a rental. Well, I don't know about that. I don't think Russell would be pleased with that. Okay, we'll leave it there and see if we have any more information between now and Friday's show. But it is an interesting question to take the points away from the season standing, not from the given event in which the occurrence, in which the collision occurred. Which brings us, after a bit of a wait, to our latest, Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote. And this one is awesome. Thank you very much, Alistair.
G'day, Tom, Julia, and all the Fosey. Here I am with the John Emmett stubble look, ready with the next episode of AAAA, Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote. So I've taken a lead from that brilliant show that Tom did from Portage Yacht Club, his yacht club in the Midwest, and he asked us to perhaps profile a few other clubs from around the place and for people to send their videos in. So I thought that would be this week's contribution. And here I am at beautiful Meetung. This is my power boat in the background, my little Mary Fisher 24-footer, and that's where I've been spending the last few days. And the reason for that is that I'm building a house here at Meetung. Everyone needs to Google it, have a look at where it is. It's 4 hours drive east of Melbourne, and it's a beautiful, beautiful lakeside area, resort. The Gippsland Lakes, it's known as. Fantastic sailing here, and my wife Tracy and I are building a house, a big 7-bedroom house on the lake at Meetung, which we'll have ready at the end of this year for all of the Fosey that want to come and stay with us. We like parties, and we'd love to have plenty of you come and visit. So I thought today I'd just give you a really quick tour of the Meetung Yacht Club, things that we're profiling yacht clubs, and I'll move on to that in a second here. So here we are, Tom and Julia and all the Fosey, standing in front of the delightful little Meetung Yacht Club. So I'll take you for a little bit of a walk. As you can see, there's a few etchels and dragons over here. Back over there, in that part of the marina, is where my little powerboat is, where I've been staying for the last few days. Walking over, I see they've got the flagpole down for a bit of maintenance. We'll just walk up the little stairway. Oh, look at this high quality Ronstand turnbuckles on the balustrading. Gotta love that. Anyway, up the stairs to the yacht club here. Unfortunately, the club's not open, but you can probably see in there, nice little bar area and the office, and then a beautiful view here of Bancroft Bay, they call it, which is a great little spot for dinghy racing and whatnot. So we'll go down the stairs again. So Meetung's a lovely little village. It's 4 hours east by car from Melbourne, and it's become our home away from home. We did an Easter regatta here some time ago, and I've been doing it every year for the last 15 years or so, fallen in love with it, and building our dream home here. You see a fleet of Optis under the club, some 420s, and international cadets, and you'll see some other training boats back there as well. The club's about 300 members, and it's a fabulous spot. As you can see, we've got some Quest dinghies for sail training, and quite a good little facility. Some beautiful homes around it. This is owned by a friend of ours here, and it's very much in demand. So lovely little holiday spot, building the 7-bedroom home ourselves, and the dream is to have lots and lots and lots of parties there with lots of people, friends, family. That's what we're doing it for. So all the FOSI, if you're ever in Melbourne, give us a call, and we've got plenty of space for you. Come and stay, and we can chat all about Tom and Julia and the Sailing Illustrated community. So I'm just walking along to the hard stand here to finish our little tour. The club's very active. And as an example, we had the Etchells Nationals here just 3 or 4 months ago. COVID impacted on the size of the fleet, and we only had about 40 boats, but it was still pretty good. And the Nationals are back here in a year. I think it's January 2024, and we would expect to have probably 60 Etchells lined up on the start line, which will be fantastic. So we're just walking along to the hard stand to complete our tour. Just panning back over the marina, you can see plenty of boats there. Pretty small marina, small town, got a beautiful spot. Sorry about the traffic noise. It's a pretty quiet little town. I should have done this a little earlier because it's a peak hour here. It's a rush hour, getting probably one car every couple of minutes. Anyway, as you can see, the hard stand, a dragon there, an Etchells and a dragon. Etchells. Etchells is probably 15 of them here, so it's a good little fleet, and you can see the crane in the background for launching. So a very active fleet. They've got off the beach boats, they've got dragons, they've got Etchells, they've got Cuda boat, which is an old fishing boat, and they've got a mixed fleet of keel boats as well. So that's probably it for the tour. That's enough for this morning. I went for a walk this morning and saw dolphins and seals. So it's a very picturesque place, teeming with wildlife, lots of bird life. It's a fantastic place. So anyway, that's it for me, signing out from my AAAA for today, and looking forward to seeing you all in Meetung one day. Cheers, folks. Bye.
Now, how cool was that? Huh?
Absolutely.
Julia?
Yeah, I know.
And if more people would do the same, give us a tour of their yacht club. I don't know how the rest of you, I really appreciated having that tour.
Yes.
We now have the Meetung station of the Beach Street Yacht Club, maybe. Alistair's house. I can't wait. Nice club, Matthias Collins is saying. I can't wait to get there. Very cool, Don Lunabos.
Yeah.
Stingray saying, thank you, Alistair. Not an Ilka in sight. Emmett's got he's got to get on that. Clark Chapin is saying, good fleets, very nice town. Well, it's a long, I'm surprised what Fee say, 4-hour drive, Julia?
Yeah, it's a ways.
Fritz Mueller asking, I always say Mueller as in the German pronunciation. Mueller, I'm sure he says down in Miami, how's the cycling around there? Gordon Smith, I really love these tours of different clubs and cityscapes. And yeah, Meetung, I think he said, looks very cool. And Gordon Smith, yeah, I like the idea of providing a chairlift for the stairs. Always great for leaving the bar. I was wondering, Fritz, too, if it's saltwater or not. But what a great group of boats. Thank you, Alistair Murray. Thank you very much for. And we got a couple others already in the can from him. One that's an evergreen, great piece, and we'll play it in due course when we have.
He does very well at that.
He does indeed. Thanks, Alistair. Great. Not AAA, quadruple A, A4.
Yes.
Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote for today. This day in history, this is a good one, Julia. This is one of my favorites ever. The 13th of September in 2012. Do you have any idea what happened? Here's your first clue. That is a Russian flag pin on the gentleman's lapel. You're going to get your finger ready because you're going to wave your finger at me. This is Dmitry Medvedev, the former Russian president, and I think he's the current prime minister. You know, he's the one who traded off with Putin so to keep Putin in power. And this happened in 2012, though, when he was president. Here's your second clue. Any idea who that is, Julia? It is a feminist activist collection, sort of music, sort of stage performance. And there is their name in Cyrillic. And Gordon Smith wins. I was using any excuse, and Peter Taylor, they both got it. The name of that group, Julie, do you want to read it or shall I?
I think you better.
It's called Pussy Riot. I've always wanted to be able to get that into the show, like that lighthouse we had up at the, Ted Ryan. See all these guys, Graham Sweeney, they all got it immediately. As I recall, if you watch when he spoke, you could see Putin's lips move. He's talking about, look at Ken Commodore. I think we've embarrassed the guy. He's turned all pink and red there.
Yeah.
He's shaking his head. No, only Eamon would come up with this day in history. I see. Now, I was polite. I put it on the slide in Cyrillic so that I didn't have it there, Ken.
It deserves.
Julius, you want to shake your finger at me too, Ken?
Yeah, there's another one. Yeah.
He's just shaking his head in disgust. So what happened? Well, the group gained global notoriety when 5 members of the group staged a performance inside Moscow's Cathedral of Christ the Savior on February 21st of 2012. The group's actions were condemned as sacrilegious by the Orthodox clergy and eventually stopped by church security officials. Yeah, Peter Taylor says, yeah, you had it in Cyrillic, but we all knew what it was. Well, long story short, there's the group, and they are, you know, they had their 15 minutes of fame, I suppose. I don't need to repeat their name again, but I knew I'd work it into a show sooner. You're not amused.
No.
You shouldn't be. If you were amused, I'd worry about you. So it was on this day that the Russian Prime Minister Medvedev, I think I had his name spelled wrong in that lower third, calls for Russian punk band to be free. See, I didn't read it again, Julia. You'd be proud of me. To be freed on this day in history, 2012. Do you think they were freed? No, they weren't. They were eventually convicted, tried and convicted and imprisoned, at least 2 of them. One of them may have been freed, but the 2 kind of ringleaders were in prison for several years. I don't know what's going on. Hooliganism.
Yes.
Hooliganism. I didn't know that was a crime. Of course it is. At least it is in Russia. Okay, I won't make any political comments about the far left here in the U.S., Julia, about. So no coverage of the GGR, or was it in the beginning? What's the GGR, Bill Haynes? The GGR. I don't know. We've got some more coverage here, though, as we move forward to, okay, Julie, you didn't shake your finger at me. Not much, anyway. Ken Glidewell still's got kind of a wry smile on his face, shaking his head. He can't believe it. Gordon Smith saying, I understand the leading members of the group have now escaped to Finland. Oh, the Golden Globe race. Yeah, Graham, I'll get into that. I'm having a hard time. Thanks, Andrew Pindar. I'm having a hard time, for some reason, getting my head into that. We will. We'll see. But let's talk about the America's Cup. A couple of interesting developments, the probably most significant of which was the revelation over the weekend on TVNZ's, their show called Sunday, followed up by an article in Monday morning in the New Zealand Herald. Headline, Dean Barker reveals he battled cancer while training for the 2021 America's Cup. Now, remember, he was the helmsman then for American Magic. Well, this story raised my eyebrows. I put it on my Facebook page, and I'm sure any number of you will have followed this. New Zealand sailor Dean Barker, according to the New Zealand Herald, has revealed he was battling cancer while training for American Magic's 2021 America's Cup campaign. the former TNZ skipper. He was with Team New Zealand when they won in 2000, and won one of the races. Russell Coutts raced and won the first 4 races. Then he let Dino, as backup skipper, sail and win the 5th race. The former Team New Zealand skipper appeared on TVNZ Sunday, which is, I think it's fair to say you Kiwis would agree that it's like your 60 Minutes down there.
Mm.
Very well produced, great show, to share his story of being diagnosed with bowel cancer and receiving chemotherapy over a period of 6 months, all while keeping his sailing dreams alive. There was a quote, this is a quote from Dino, there was a fork in the road and it was always the wrong one all the way through. Colonoscopy, they said, don't worry, it'll be fine. Well, it wasn't. Then it was, oh, we'll take out the tumor. And they get rid of that, and you think that that's the end of it, and it wasn't. And then it's the chemo, which, as many of you will know from friends or maybe even personal experience. It's not but it can be devastating. Every fortnight on a Monday, he'd receive a new round of chemotherapy, which involved a day of treatment in a clinic, 2 days of slow-release treatment at home, and 2 days of recovery. He then hoped to be well enough to rejoin his teammates in America's Cup training by the weekend. And this went every other week for, what'd they say, 6 months? Barker he basically told nobody about his battle at the time, with just close family, American Magic team owners, and team skipper Terry Hutchinson aware of his situation. He's only telling his story now to raise awareness about bowel cancer and to encourage people to get checked by medical professionals if they suspect something is amiss within their guts. And apparently he had blood in his stool, and he ignored it for 3 or 4 weeks and then told the team doc, and the team doc then said, do not pass go, do not collect 200, go to the hospital and get checked out, which he did. Probably saved his life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to play the first few minutes of the Sunday show from TVNZ where this news broke over the weekend.
Every day, 3 New Zealanders die of bowel cancer. It's the country's second most lethal after lung cancer. But if caught early, it is treatable. Trouble is, we're a bit shy of seeking help. One of our most famous athletes knows all about that. Dean Barker has overcome his shyness to get medical attention and now to share his story with John Campbell. Tonight he's hoping to save lives, maybe yours.
Look at the boat speed aboard American Magic though, pushing 45 knots. That's the fastest we've seen today.
Some days life seems infinite. Like January 17th last year, when American Magic was leading Luna Rossa in their Prada Cup race in Auckland.
Little touchdown there, just dealing with the sea state, which is still choppy. That's Dean Barker on board.
Yes, Dean Barker at the helm, beating Jimmy Spittle with all the resonance of that.
He's going to have to watch him out of the tack.
And then, out of nowhere...
Oh, a lot of fever coming off board. Yeah, big breeze.
Fate, as it sometimes does when we least expect it, had other plans.
3, 2, 1, turning down now.
Oh, a lot of breeze on! A lot of breeze on! As they go! Is she going to go? Oh, and no. It's full flight! My word! And put that down to a lot of wind. She could capsize here. Oh, no!
And what Dean Barker has never said publicly before, what few people in his own team even knew, is that while training with the team up in the US, he'd been diagnosed with bowel cancer.
Yeah, obviously, that was a very tough moment. You sort of felt like having been through, the bowel cancer, the chemo particularly, and then to be able to actually have the opportunity to carry on and be racing back at home with with all friends and family around, and then to have that happen, it was like, wow, where does it end? But
Absolutely magnificent, Dean Barker.
I'm going to leave it there. It's on my Facebook page. I don't remember if I shared it to the Sailing Illustrated Facebook page, but I will. You can find it on YouTube. It's a great piece of video. Again, their Sunday is a bit like the like 60 Minutes here or in Australia, some of your other countries. He is very shy, as you know. He's soft-spoken and understated, and John Campbell did a great job in this interview. Mandy joined them later on, And this is a cancer that once it gets into your lymph nodes, I'm told by a doctor, a mutual doctor friend of ours, that that's kind of a 5 years maybe to live sort of thing. So if you're sailing in the America's Cup and having to think through all of that, you got to wonder what was going on in Dean's mind. So
I started noticing a little bit of blood in my stool, and didn't really think a lot of it, but it sort of carried on for 2 or 3 weeks.
This is when Dean Barker.
Okay, so I'll leave it there. Again, go have a look at it, because it is it's an instructive story for all of us, I think. As Gordon Smith said, well done in Bravo Zulu indeed. What we'd call colon cancer, probably Paul Homchick, right. And well done on Dean for sharing this, taking notice of your body, Gordon Smith is saying. Denmark offers regular screening for it. I have done it many times. Ask your doctor for this very simple test regularly. And I don't know what else to say, except there is good news. According to the New Zealand Herald, in the end of the article, he said 3 years on from his trial, meaning this whole episode, Barker says he's feeling well, cancer-free, but also far more aware of his own mortality. Quote, I just got my yearly CT scan result yesterday, all clear. It's obviously a huge sigh of relief, but in some ways, it's always in the back of your mind. And Bravo Zulu to Mandy and Dean. This is a 2013 photo that the New Zealand Herald ran, and which I grabbed. But again, Bravo Zulu to them. And, it's a heads up to all of us, no doubt. But it also begs the question of, if you were running a syndicate, and I asked Julia yesterday on our Monday lunch bunch, we got a couple sailors of note on there and a doctor of considerable repute. If you were running a syndicate and this happened to your helmsman, skipper, one of your senior serious people, what would you do? I don't want to debate that now, get into that now, because that's probably for another time. But it puts the whole American Magic campaign in another light.
It does.
Well, it sheds a whole new, perspective, I think, given that. So without further ado, I think I'll move on. When I heard a couple other comments, Fritz Mueller is saying, when I heard this story, Chris Rogers, RIP, came to mind, a great sailor gone too early. Yeah, we can all think about people who, there's famous husbands of TV personalities in this country and many others. And so, if it gets into your lymph nodes, as it did for Dino, it can be tough and quick. So there's a warning. And Bravo Zulu again to Mandy and Dean for bringing this going. In the headline, the articles were he's been sitting on a killer or sitting on death, and it was just, come on, be a little more. I didn't use those expressions on here. I just thought that was croutonic by the media. But let's carry on. There's some other news out of New Zealand, because the AC40s are about the first AC40 is about to be splashed. Have a look.
Massively exciting day for us. Trucked the boat down from Whangarei this morning, and it's been a huge effort by the team at Emirates Team New Zealand, but also the team at McConaughey's in China. They've presented us an immaculate looking boat, and now we've got a pretty compressed sort of 10 to 12 days worth of QA checks we're going to carry out on the boat, and once we do that and verify it for the rest of the boats of this class, we'll be ready to go sailing.
The AC40 is an important boat for us and for all the teams, because it's a boat that most of our development is going to happen on. It's great to be able to take all the work that we've done, everything that we've learned in designing the AC75, and put that all together into a package. It's not just for us, it's for the other teams and women in youth AC, and it's really cool just to see that expand into the greater sailing community.
Getting ready to install some sensors for our structural test, just to measure strains going through the hull. We've got a bunch of load cells that we'll hook up, and then just start pulling on things and make sure everything's kind of behaving the way that we expect it to.
Big moment for the team, big moment for the boat. The purpose here is to make sure the boat is structurally sound from a design and build point of view, so that when we go sailing on the first day, we push it from day one with confidence that everyone will be safe and the boat will perform as it should. Jib sheet up to 500. Holding. It has to be really quiet so we hear for anything going on structurally, little tings or pings, but everyone's put a lot of hard work in, so we're quietly confident, but you always got to be prepared for the unexpected and to be a bit nimble for what happens during the test.
It's really after the boat gets back to the dock on that first day that we'll know a lot more than we know now, and It'll be the first sailing day for the team since we won the America's Cup. It's going to be good to get back out on the water and see how this new boat performs. It's really an exciting new time.
Exciting new time for a new boat. Built in China, Fritz Mueller is questioning. Yep, interesting and high tech. How much does it cost? Ed Worley is asking. Well, guess what? We have some of those answers for you. I posted on my Facebook page today an article that appeared in Jalopnik, on the Jalopnik website, about the scaled down America's Cup yachts that are available for purchase. You can have one yourself. The full article, you can see the subhead. The foiling monohull yacht can exceed speeds of 50 miles per hour and selling for $2 million. So even you can have one and they said in the article for only, Julia, $2 million.
Pocket change.
I think they've already got 10 orders, meaning from America's Cup teams and other teams that are going to compete either in the women. There's a Spanish team, for example, that's going to compete either or both in the women's and in the Junior America's Cup, Youth America's Cup. The full article is on my Facebook page. I also copied it over to the Sailing Illustrated Facebook page. You can go read it there. It's an interesting piece. We just don't have time. We're an hour and 50 minutes in here. 2 million New Zealand, I assume. I don't know if that's true, Gordon Smith. If it's 2 million Kiwi or 2 million US, and of course the US dollar is so strong right now. I don't know how it is against the Kiwi. I know it's almost parity with the pound, isn't it? Yeah. Snap, crackle, pop testing. Yeah, indeed. That's why I have to be quiet. We've all been through that, stress testing. 2 million, as Clark Chapin, he's saying, as they say, cheap at half the price. Yeah. So much for cost cutting, Ed Worley. So, yeah, I don't know what is going on, except obviously these people are in the profit motive and making money from I assume they're making money from building these boats. Okay, we have one more video. I just couldn't help myself because it's such a beautiful video. And here is from the Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup we've been talking about for the last several shows. And I just think this is one of the best videos I have seen in a long time. A wrap up from the event at Yacht Club Costa Smeralda that ended a couple days ago. Have a look.
The Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup.
It has it all.
It's the best sailing we can get.
The best boats. All the key players come.
It's one of the hardest things to win.
Great place to sail, stunning settings, phenomenal breezes.
Spectacular.
What a regatta it has been. As the Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup 2022 draws to a close, we reflect on a week of simply outstanding yacht racing. The 50-strong fleet has been treated to a feast of challenging racetracks through the stunning archipelago, organised by the Yacht Club Costa Smeralda to allow these yachts to excel in the perfect conditions. Across all classes there have been exemplary performances, and for the owners and crews of these extraordinary yachts, it has been a week to savour.
Great competition, fantastic racing. As always, Porto is the best place in the world to race. I think of all the years I've been coming here in Rolex Maxi, this is probably the highest quality of fleet, the best sailed, the best prepared boats that I've ever seen. So yes, especially good to win.
It's been an incredible week, you know, dream come true. We sort of said, okay, let's work hard and let's see if we can make this happen this year. And, you know, the gods smiled on us and we pulled it off.
It's been an amazing week and we sailed really well. You know, in yachting, it's about making as few mistakes as possible, and I think we did very few mistakes. We sailed very cleanly, you know, good starts.
And there were class wins too for Shimano, Capricorno and H2O. A celebratory end to what has been a truly world-class event, the Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup 2022.
Yes, who was it? Gordon Smith just said, wow. Ed Worley said, wow, in all caps.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fabulous or what?
Yes.
Jays were awesome to see, Gordon Smith is saying, indeed. And talking about, yeah, it's $1.15 per pound, and it's the dollar is back, what, in parity with the euro. Thank you for setting us straight on all that. But a terrific event. Bravo Zulu to Yacht Club Costa Smeralda, and to our Fozy and good friend, Andrew McIrvin, who's the Secretary General of the IMA, and Commodore Glidewell, back to you.
Yeah, I knew Jim Swartz was over there racing Vesper, but I didn't realize he had won. So I like to thank him for representing the club as well as the other clubs he belongs to.
Exactly, and I didn't know that Tom Siebel had sold StFYC until somebody on the show, one of the FOSI, told us a couple of weeks ago and said, I'm not sure this is public, but obviously from that video you can see Nicholas Zenstrom, who, speaking of Skype, on which we are, he started Skype, sold it to Microsoft, and then bought it back, right? And then maybe he sold it again. So
yeah, he and a couple others acquired StFYC from Cal Maritime, if I recall correctly.
Oh, is that where it went? It went to Cal Maritime, and then interesting.
Yeah.
Julie Aaron's back on the story of a very brave Dino Barker. I agree. He has been very brave. I can't believe that he felt well enough to have been sailing, let alone racing in the America's Cup. I have my opinions about him sailing, but Dean is so private and so stoic. I also think that if his health situation would have been in the forefront, there would have been a lot of second guessing about his ability, no doubt, Julie. I'm glad that we did not know about his situation. It is really up to him and his bosses, and knowing somebody's medical information really is a violation of privacy. Totally agree. I know that we all have 20/20 hindsight, but making judgments at this juncture is completely, we ought to have an alliteration there, is completely Croutonic, Julie Aarons is saying. I think we all agree. Commodore, anything else on this or any other matter? Because we're going to wrap this one up just short of 2 hours.
No, I'm good. Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
Commodore, thank you very much. Commodore Ken Glidewell, who's Julia's favorite Commodore, right, Julia? Huh?
Well, certainly one of them.
Certainly one of them. Thanks, Ken. Much
There's
appreciated.
A lot of good
Commodores. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
See you guys.
And we'll be seeing a lot of Ken this weekend. We'll get over and see the big boat. And I will for sure. Well, you and I have got to go over there at some point.
Yes.
And sit in the grill room and do our usual watching and have a nice lunch.
Yep.
And then on Sunday, I'm working all day to help Bob Sky do the prize giving and do the live stream.
I may park myself upstairs.
You should. You should get a table up there with some of your friends. I'll take you over.
Yeah.
Or actually, I won't, because I'm going to go over there early. So you have to get somebody else to take you over there later on. Is there any running? I wonder if Ken knows if there's any running races. Last year, Ken, we couldn't get in there because there was some kind of a marathon or some kind of a mini marathon. And I ended up walking in from the Beach Street Yacht Club.
You know, I recall that as well. I think it was on a Sunday, but I haven't heard that we're having one this week by the city.
And Julie, you haven't heard anything?
No.
We'll have to look at that, because I know I was talking with Bobby Sky, our sound guy, about that last night, esteemed sound guy. Gordon Smith saying, thank you, Commodore Ken. Thank you, Julie and Tom. Good show. Yep, Donald Lunabos. Thank you, everybody. And we're into the D block now. And we've got a fair few of these today, Julia. Ken's probably going to mimic this guy and shake his head when he hears a few of these. Certainly you will, Julia.
Yeah. Yes.
But they're good. They're good. And these are all FOSI contributions for Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. This is an oldie but goodie from Peter Taylor. My doctor says now that I'm older, I should install a bar in my shower.
That's an oldie.
Huh? I know it's an oldie, but it was the best video I had seen.
Yeah.
Thanks, Peter Taylor, for that one. Now, this is a sign of the times. What happened? We banned gas cars and everybody plugged in their electric cars at once. Julie will dedicate that one to you, because I know you're not.
Yes.
You're not entirely.
Everybody forgets the total use of energy in building and maintaining.
Exactly. That's thanks to Greg Phillips, who's down in Oz, but I think he said today, early in the show, he's up in Montreal. This is another Greg Phillips contribution.
Yeah.
And for some reason, we got onto scratching balls today, but the vet said, I'll stop him that this neck cone will stop him from scratching himself, so I got one for Brian, too. That's funny.
That is funny.
Don't you think?
Yes.
And likewise, Greg Phillips, thank you for that. But here's another one from Greg. It is only when a mosquito lands on your testicles that you realize there is always a way to solve problems without using violence. You can't smack the mosquito. Huh?
Oh, well, some people believe that.
Well, what do you believe?
You can always smack us. Mr.
Oh, you
Goon.
can? Better not. Your late great husband wouldn't have thought too much of that. Okay, sorry. I finally to something clean. This is Pedro's personal perspective. We're using at his suggestion in today's Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. He says, Tom, you could use this on WTF. The more focus we place, it's a video I'm going to show you in a sec. The more focus we place on powerboat drivers' inabilities, the less focus will be given to yachties that have slight indiscretions. That from Pedro. Have a look.
Well, captains, we're back. Welcome to Whiskey Throttle.
Courtesy of Credit Card
This isn't
Captain.
the cleanest, nicest, calmest day I've ever seen. Now, where this boat is here, it doesn't look like he's supposed to be in this situation. Now, listen, I only know that because this guy that's about to run down the dock right here tells me that this ain't supposed to be happening. There he is. Looks like he hits it in reverse here and swings that ass end over to the right and doesn't realize that there's a walking bridge going across there. Listen to the sound of this right here. Yeah, get you some. Look at that thing right here. I bet you didn't know a boat could do that. Now, you might have heard of Sea Fox. Well, that's a new boat called Sea Salt. Welcome to Credit Card Captain.
I thought it was just going to go back into the dock and there'd be a big crash, but then he goes right up on the dock, the seesaw dock.
Oh.
That was, thank you, Peter.
Awful.
Thank you, Peter Stevenson. That I think that wins the. Brilliant. Gordon Smith is saying, Park Graham Sweeney saying, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, that was pretty good. Thanks, Mark Curtis, for saying another great show. I really enjoyed the Commodore's comments. Now I'm going to go back and watch the beginning that I missed when I came in late. Thank you to everybody. But Julia, wait, there's more. There is more.
Oh, yes.
Dry dock, Gordon Smith. Now that the Queen has passed on, all monetary notes are no longer valid and need to be replaced with ones with King Charles III's picture on them. Please send in your old notes and we will send you new ones. Mr. Andre Bailey from the Bank of England in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria.
Yes. That's
the latest scam. I think that's just a joke, obviously, but it came from our good dear friend, our dear Fozy, Ted Ryman in the Republic of South Africa. That was pretty good. Okay, that gets us to the finish line, Julia. And I just want to say again that we're going to do a Fozy tributes to Her Majesty the Queen on Friday's show. So if you have a memory, whether you want to put it in on video, or you want to send it to us just as a note, we'll try to stick them in. I know several of you already have. And our dear friend and Fozy, Andrew Pindar, he's got a great story himself, but he also has been her representative in Scarborough. For some time. The Queen has, in various counties all around the country, they have their representatives. And Andrew's been very privileged, and he's proud to have been Her Majesty's rep for some time. Julia, your witness.
Please like, follow, and share. Helps us and helps them.
Indeed. And comments, too, as you all know, and unless you're new here, welcome also in replay. So if you're on the replay, leave us a comment, say, hi, I'm so-and-so from thus and such, and keep it clean, and no personal attacks. No name calling, no croutonicism.
No
coarse language. That's right. And support us on Patreon if you would, please. Patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. Julia, final thoughts.
There's lots going on, and the next month is going to be full too.
Indeed. Great. Matthias Collins, Paul. Yeah, Matthias. Guys, alert. I don't know what that means, Matthias. The address is wrong. Send your bills to Espana 1260. That's his address. Presumably down south in Brazil.
Yeah.
Thank you all for informing and a fun evening as always. Thank you, Gordon Smith. Thank you to our contributors of video, audio, and images for this show. And Julia, we will be back this Friday. And then next Tuesday. I won't be doing a show a week from this Friday, but next couple of shows. Sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. See you Friday. Ciao for now.